Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Jeff Beals here at your service. We're broadcasting live from the beautiful KFAB Penthouse Studios high above Underwood Avenue in downtown Dundee. This is the only show in the metro area that focuses on construction, real estate development, anything related to Omaha becoming more vibrant and more prosperous. Without any further ado, it's time to bring on my co-host, a man who is absolutely legendary as a real estate deal maker in this town and in this state, Trenton Magid.
You're kind, Jeff. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, good morning, Trenton, and happy Berkshire weekend to you.
Yeah, we welcome all the Berkeys. I met some last night, and they come from far and wide.
You know, it's kind of one of Omaha visitors. You know, the Convention of Visitors Bureau here in Omaha has two Super Bowls, and this is one of them. The College World Series being the other Super Bowl that we have. But as your crack reporter and humble correspondent, I did my duty this morning, and I got up early and I drove around downtown and I took in the sights. And as usual, the throngs of people were heading into the CHI Health Center Omaha. The hotel shuttles were going back and forth. Weren't quite as many protesters this year as usual. Gotta say, I was a little disappointed by that. But there was the obligatory, those sign trucks that have the electronic signs.
Yes.
One was blasting capitalism. And of course, the ironic thing is the organization that paid for that, which is a form of capitalism. But it looked like a big crowd and
big line for the movie.
Big line for the movie. Brad Williams took a nice photo this morning. That's on the Grow Omaha Facebook page if you want to see what some of the action looked like there. The meeting goes on pretty much most of the day today. Only a little part of it's the actual meeting. Most of it is Q&A. And, of course, big change this year. Last fall, Charlie Munger died just a few days short of his 100th birthday, Warren Buffett's longtime vice chairman. And the two of them would always be on stage together. Well, this year it will be Warren with his two vice chairmen, Greg Abel and Ajit. Is it John? Greg Abel's the head of the non-insurance entities within Berkshire, and Ajit is in charge of the insurance industry. So those three will be taking the questions.
Yeah, the boon to the restaurants all over the city, and these guys are asking me what my favorite steak place was, and
what'd you tell them?
Well, I gave them a few options.
You don't want to say.
Brother Sebastian's ranks way up there, I think, and they knew that name already, and a few of the obvious ones, and so. People do their homework.
Brother Sebastian's, Mahogany would be up there.
Yeah, the Drover.
Drover is up there. 801 is up there. There's a lot of good steak places in our town.
And they're all,
of course, Warren Buffett likes Garot's.
Yep, and they're all full. And Garotz says that this is their Christmas. So
another one of their Super Bowls.
Absolutely, but just the press that Omaha gets, and I think CNBC is broadcasting live.
They are. Yeah,
and I don't remember that happening in the past, but maybe it did.
They've done that for a few years. They haven't always done it, but they've done it for the last several years, and they always have correspondents here, and then I think some of the other, obviously the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, Fox Business, so many of the publications that cover business news are here. I'm sure Bloomberg is here in force, and so it's a great day for Omaha. It's a great day for business in America, and we're so excited that our town gets to host that Woodstock for capitalists. We've got some good news at Omaha, at Grow Omaha. We're really growing. We're going to have some announcements coming up pretty soon for some new ways that we're going to bring more news and more content to you. But as part of our effort to grow, we have brought on a couple of new reporters, and we want to welcome Isaiah Ong and Nicole Bunjan. Isaiah is covering a lot of our construction and planning board and building permit news, a lot of the real estate development news. And Nicole Bunjan is covering our restaurant and retail news. And so we're excited to have those two outstanding people with us part-time, helping us bring more and more news to Grow Omaha listeners and the readers and subscribers to our Grow Omaha newsletter.
Both very experienced writers, and and Omahans that are out and about, and we welcome them.
Yeah, and just all around outstanding people. Thrilled to have them on board. So we're going to go into our news of the week now, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. You can find Eagle Mortgage in person at 114th and Davenport, just south of 114th and Dodge, or just look them up at eaglemortgagecompany.com. Either way, they will help you with what is one of the biggest decisions and biggest purchases the average person makes in their life, buying a new house. And if you are thinking about getting your piece of the American dream, or a newer, nicer, bigger, or downsized version of the American dream, one of the first things you want to do is call Holly Schneiderwin and her team members at Eagle Mortgage. Doesn't matter what type of loan you want. They do almost all of them. And the nice thing about Eagle is they are a mortgage broker. They're not a bank. And so they can shop the market, compare lenders one against the other, match you up with the lender that best fits what you're looking for and what you're trying to accomplish and what your background is all about. Eagle Mortgage, you can find them at eaglemortgagecompany.com. Well, Trenton, the big news, and this was really big news. It caught a lot of Omahans by surprise. Forbes magazine has a feature called Forbes Home, and they recently named Omaha the #1 best city to move to in 2024. And not only did they give Omaha that lofty #1 ranking, they awarded Omaha a perfect 100 out of 100 score.
And the second city was like 83.
Yeah, there was a hell of a drop-off, actually. Yeah, because if you look at it, Omaha was #1 with a perfect score of 100. #2 was Raleigh, North Carolina, with an 83.12. Let's give you the whole top 15, shall we?
Absolutely.
We love lists and rankings on the show.
Especially when Omaha's in the top 10.
Absolutely. So Omaha, Raleigh. #3, Oklahoma City, followed by Wichita, Kansas, Colorado Springs, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Louisville, Kentucky, Tucson, Arizona, Virginia Beach, Virginia, and Columbus, Ohio. That's the top 10. The #11, Indianapolis. #12, El Paso. #13, Mesa, Arizona. #14, Austin. And then #15, Albuquerque, New Mexico. So what did they say about Omaha in this Forbes report? And we quote, "According to our research, the overall best city to move to in 2024 is Omaha, Nebraska, which scored a perfect 100 out of 100 based on our point system. Omaha has a reasonable median monthly housing cost of $1,188, and its residents enjoy a median family income of $69,198. We loved that the city enjoys 117 sunny days a year." I'm thinking that's perfectly sunny days, because sunny days were well into the 200s.
Yeah.
Little bastards. Okay, but at any rate, we have an impressive 98% employment rate, emphasizing the city's strong job market and abundant opportunities for those who value career advancement. As far as safety is concerned, Omaha has a fairly low crime rate, with only 40 out of 1,000 residents being impacted, showing the city's commitment to keeping homes safe and secure. Say a few other things, but one of the things that did jump out at me a little bit in the last paragraph, I won't read the whole thing, refers to our enjoyable climate.
Yes.
I don't know if I would.
If you like diversity,
yeah,
climate,
if you like a little bit or a lot of everything when it comes to weather,
in the same day,
we're the climate for you. So, but that's a good thing, and I think this is, Trenton, affirmation that we're doing a lot of things right here. Of course, some people see this who are longtime Omahans. They think to themselves, "Oh my gosh, we're too crowded. We can't have more people." But we have to keep growing if we want to stay strong.
No question about it. And kudos to Mayor Stothert, who is on her third term and just announced that she's running again. She's done an amazing job in the city council, the planning board, the Dave Fanslaw, and everybody in the Omaha Planning Department. We like to think that we do our part here at Grow Omaha.
Sounds like you're accepting an award. I'd like to thank Dave Fanslaw from the...
Yeah.
He's a good guy, by the way.
Great guy. He's been on here a couple times. And no, I think everybody, we can pat ourselves on the back, but at the same time, we're always competing with ourselves, and there's a lot of competition out there as well. So all Omahans, if you believe in this city, tell people about it, and there's plenty to do, and then also not to forget about all the stakeholders, the $400 million that was put into the downtown park, and all these public-private partnerships help make Omaha unique. So we're really lucky, and yeah, there's things that we can always improve on and more entertainment options. We certainly have a ton of restaurant options, but we're lucky to call Omaha home.
Yeah, we're definitely coming into, if we're not already in, a golden era of Omaha history. If you look back, there have been a few where Omaha really boomed at periods as we've gone from the mid 1800s to today. And it appears that we are on the front end of another one of those golden eras with so many things happening. It's, when you talk with some of the people who visit for Berkshire or other people that Trenton and I have known who've been in town for business or what have you, other than a lot of times hearing messages that people are shocked and surprised about what's going on here, it's just positive. People enjoy being here.
There's a gentleman named Sam from Cleveland who was talking about how Omaha is such a better community, and how if it wasn't for his job that he just loves Omaha. And that he and his buddies were talking about all the cranes that are building buildings here, and the amount of construction downtown and other places. And so it was great to hear. And then you always get the person that says, "I heard that you guys have a pretty good zoo. It's not better than San Diego, is it?" I'm like, "Oh, you have no idea." I said, "You go spend a day there, or whatever time you have."
San Diego Zoo is so overrated. It's a bunch of birds. I remember there one time going, it's like birds. I don't want to see birds. I want to see like a herd of 12 elephants. I want to see lions.
We have more baby elephants than anywhere, I'm sure, because
birds.
They keep being born.
Well, not anymore. They got rid of the guy who's responsible for all that and sent him to a different.
They're
zoo.
still pretty young.
Okay, but there's still a lot of them. But I will tell you, you mentioned Cleveland, Trenton. This is one of my favorite stories, just to show Omahans what we have here that you may not realize. I was doing in my other life, I do sales training. I had a program in Cleveland a couple of years ago. And we were talking at one of the breaks, and this was for a group that's involved in the real estate and real estate development world. And they were talking, the guy was lamenting. He's like, yeah, in Northeast Ohio, which is a big area of like 3 or 4 million people, if you count the Akron, Canton, Youngstown, that's all Northeast Ohio, along with Cleveland. And he's like, we don't have any Class A office buildings under construction. He's like, you're from Omaha, I suppose you guys have the same problem. And at the time I was like, no, we've got like at least 6 Class A office buildings under construction right now, and Omaha's probably a third or less the size and population wise of Northeast Ohio.
See what we get excited about, ladies and gentlemen.
And you can too. Just keep listening. Hey, a couple other quick stories before we take our break, just to bring you up to speed. An indoor basketball and volleyball practice training facility is planned for 5121 North 132nd Street. That's a 3-acre lot just southeast of 132nd and Fort. This facility will be operated by Nebraska Basketball Academy. It'll be about a little over 12,000 square feet and have 2 full-size courts and a 90-stall parking lot. Meanwhile, Skyline Manor, an assisted living facility at 7300 Graceland Drive, that's just southwest of 72nd and Military Avenue. It's eyed for redevelopment as an apartment building. It's a 6-story building, sits up high on a hill, so it's quite prominent. Currently vacant. Plans call for 160 units, apartment units that is, and increasing parking from 107 to 200 stalls. So the projects keep coming, and that is your news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. Going to take our first break of the hour. And when we come back, we're going to bring on our friend and colleague, Jill Anderson. She is the president of NP Dodge Residential Sales Division and is going to be talking to us about the residential real estate market. A lot going on in that market. And don't worry, we will ask her about that National Association of Realtors settlement that affects real estate commissions. So you don't want to miss any of this. You're listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics on News Radio 1110 KFA. And welcome back to the show, Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics. Cheer Athletics is the place for your kids to get involved or your grandkids kiddos, if you're looking for a place where kids can really learn a lot about life and compete and get in great physical shape, it's Cheer Athletics. It is part of the All-Star Cheer industry, which is such a great sport that has become so popular. There are a lot of all-star cheer gyms in the country, but the Cadillac among them is Cheer Athletics, and there are multiple locations, about 12 of them. The Omaha location is in Papillion, just southwest of Highways 50 and 370, and we highly recommend it. If you are interested in getting involved or learning more for your kiddo or grandkiddo, just go to caomaha.com, CA as in Cheer Athletics, caomaha.com. We have with us Jill Anderson. She is our colleague and friend. Trenton and I are part of the NP Dodge family of companies, and Jill is the president of NP Dodge's residential division, which is the famous yard sign company. So if you ever see that NP Dodge yard sign in front of a house that's for sale, that's Jill's group. So Jill, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So let's always start, as we typically do, with your 30,000-foot view of the residential real estate market in Omaha today.
It's funny you asked that. So going back, the Forbes article, obviously we're talking, is terrific. In my mind, I start to worry, how are we going to find housing? So the last time I was here, I talked about our inventory shortage. We haven't, dug out of that necessarily. From about a year ago, though, our new construction is I don't want to say catching up, but it's doing better. A healthy market is 6 months of supply. So if it goes beyond that, 6 months, it's a buyer's market. Below that, it's a seller's market. In our new construction, we're just teetering a little over 6 months, so we want to say buyer's market and new construction. But for existing houses, we're still low. We're just over a month of supply.
The tornadoes last week didn't help either.
No. And our heart goes out to anyone affected by those. But no. Now those folks have to find a place to live temporarily and then look for permanent housing, and we're already at a shortage.
And the contractors are already extremely busy.
You bet.
Yeah, because if I understand correctly, about 200 houses were either destroyed or damaged to the point where you can't quite live in them right now.
Right.
That hurts. That hurts a lot.
Absolutely.
Jill, how are prices these days? How are offering prices, sales prices, and what's changed there?
We're still seeing increased prices. Now, in the heart of the pandemic, we were starting to see some prices, up by 10 to 15%, which is unknown in our market. We're starting to level off back into that, 4 to 5%, which is
year
healthier.
Over year.
Yes, which is healthier, and that's more of the norm. But it's still hard to say. Our existing sales price right now is right at $314,000. That's a tough pill to swallow if you're a first-time home buyer. And you're coming in and, construction prices are higher, interest rates are higher, insurance is higher, and you're looking to buy your first home or even go resell and buy a new home. There's a lot of considerations that you have to take into account, and it's just putting pause on some folks, in their minds going, you know what, maybe I'll just stay and remodel and see what happens in a few months.
What I've heard and read is that older, say, empty nesters that are in these big houses, they don't need bigger houses, but if they downsize, they're basically spending about the same amount of money
or more
to downsize, and so they just stay with a bunch of empty rooms, and their kids and grandkids don't visit as much as they could.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right, and I hate to say this, I just went through a remodel, which it's never fun to do that, and then when you think about, well, if I want to downsize, I'm probably going to look, like you said, maybe for a home that's a little less expensive, but I still want to bring it up to speed. I'm not saving any money. So that's what's going through people's minds too.
Well, and I know of a lot of people, at our age, the age Trenton and I are, the kids have moved out and they are looking to downsize the amount of square footage, but they want more features. So yeah, you may want less square footage, but you want the latest this, the latest that. You always want this one thing in your house that you never had when the kids were there and you wished you could have. Well, and then you want newer. So your smaller house is going to cost a lot of money.
Right.
Jill, what about competition for houses? A couple of years ago, we were hearing the stories of people practically clubbing each over the head trying to get the house that they wanted to buy. What's the situation there these days?
We're still seeing multiple offer situations in that price range. I'm going to say, right, that 300 to 400 price range. And of course, it's all going to be dependent on condition of the house, location. But if it's priced right and ready to sell, we're seeing multiple offers. Where they're sitting a little bit longer is that higher end price range. And again, I want to go back to putting it into reality. Last year at this time, our average days on the market was right around 11 for that price, the price range that we're seeing multiple offers. It's moved up closer to 26 days on market, which is still fantastic.
Why is that?
We're a little more inventory online, causing them to sit a tiny bit longer, which is, it's good, but we're still churning through that inventory so quickly that, I don't want to say we're going to be out of it, but it's a great time for sellers.
And also sellers, though, have to be reasonable as well. Some of that longer time on the market might be because they want to get a few more dollars, which I don't blame them, but at the same time, you want to strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, it's never been a, known factor to say, well, the longer I sit on the market, the more I'm going to get for my house, because buyers are going to start to wonder, what's wrong with it? Are they really willing to sell and negotiate?
Does it need that much work?
Yeah. So price it right and have it in good condition, and you'll likely have a very quick sale.
Jill, a year ago when we were talking with you, the higher interest rates were a much newer phenomenon. And now they've been what we consider to be high for a while. Mm-hmm. And fortunately, the rate increases have stalled out. Have you seen anything in the market that leads you to believe that people have conditioned themselves to these new interest rates? Or I hate that word new normal, but are they the new normal?
Yeah, for buyers who've never bought, this is they know nothing different. For ones who are like, well, wait a minute, I locked in at a lower rate, now I'm going to sell. I like to phrase it as a switching cost because, you're not going to get that same rate, but you're moving that equity over into a new home. And once you're there, possibly you can go refi down the road if and when rates go down. But we're definitely seeing, people move for the same reasons: death, divorce, upsizing, downsizing, relocation. Those people have no choice, really, and understand it as well. It's the ones who are sitting in the houses like, I really hate my house, but I'm in at such a good rate, I don't want to move.
Right.
Then you have to think, well, does it long-term make sense to switch my costs into that new house?
Mm-hmm. I remember decades ago when there were adjustable rate mortgages because the rates were a lot higher than they are now. Are we seeing some people switch to adjustable rate mortgages, or are we just not there?
No, they exist. Absolutely. Some of the home builders are actually offering those as incentives to get people in. I don't know that it's as prominent, and that's probably, lenders can tell you we've got this program and that program to help people out and get them moved. But they're absolutely part of the game.
All right, we're going to take our middle of the show break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about the National Association of Realtors commission settlement with Jill Anderson and what that means for people in real estate, what that means for home buyers and sellers. So more with Jill Anderson, president of NP Dodge Residential, in a moment, but you're listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha. Thank you to our sponsors, Cheer Athletics and Dingman's Collision Center. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB. Grow Omaha is brought to you by Cheer Athletics and Dingman's Collision Center, which has 4 metropolitan Omaha locations: 120th and Maple, downtown Papillion, Midtown along Saddle Creek, and at 144th and Industrial Road. Any one of those locations does a great job, whether you need to get you get your paint repaired from scratches or dents, or if you need full big time body
Paintless
work.
Dent repair.
Paintless dent repair. They do it. They even have mechanical services. Dingman's family does such an outstanding job of making those vehicles good as new and treating customers like gold throughout the whole process. And I can tell you, they do such a good job of communicating with you, because when your car's in the shop, you want to know, how's it coming? What's the progress? Dingman's keeps you informed. They do such a good job of communicating. Dingman's Collision Center, sponsor of the Grow Omaha radio show. Before we get back with Jill Anderson from MP Dodge, though, we do have our commercial real estate development spotlight the week. It is brought to you by Noddle Companies, noddlecompanies.com. At Noddle Companies, they are building up Omaha. And, they're famous for a lot of things. One thing would be headquarters buildings. That Valmont headquarters building in Heartwood Preserve that opened a couple years ago. Noddle Companies development. HDR headquarters. That's the global headquarters for HDR, one of the nation's top 10 architecture and civil engineering firms right there at Aksarben Village. Noddle Companies did that. Valmont, by the way, is a Fortune 1000 company. So they can handle those, but they're also famous for places. Noddle Companies has designed and developed Aksarben Village, River's Edge, the Builders District downtown. And let's kind of talk a little bit about that Builders District downtown right now.
Coming together.
It is looking great. In fact, this morning, when I was driving around taking in all the Berkshire hullabaloo, I went through the Builders District, and as we've reported in the past, they're building a public amenities space, kind of a private but open to the public park, if you will, somewhat similar to that little park area north of HDR at Aksarben where Sonny's is located. A lot of stuff like that. That is coming along fast. Big construction progress on that this week, and so we should be able to. I'm thinking we'll have people enjoying that public space later this year. And that is your Noddle Companies commercial real estate development spotlight of the week. If you want to learn about Noddle Companies, it's really easy. Got a Facebook page or go to noddlecompanies.com. Well, we have Jill Anderson with us. She is the president of NP Dodge Residential. And Jill, we want to talk to you about the National Association of Realtors. This has been in the news quite a bit. Lawsuit over commissions eventually led to a settlement, and it has a lot of people who are either home buyers, home sellers, or just curious onlookers wondering what on earth is going to happen to the residential real estate market.
Sure. And maybe I'll give a high-level overview of what got us here.
Right.
So March 15th, NAR agreed to a settlement of $418 million. And that was really in the wake of a lawsuit that started last year, years before, but ended last year in October with home sellers in Missouri. And basically they were saying, hey, you know what, we paid too much in commissions. We didn't know that we were also paying the buyer's agent commission in our sale. So after that closing of that lawsuit, there were immediately copycat lawsuits that stemmed across the United States, and included the National Association of Realtors and several other brokerages. So originally we thought, hey, we're just going to fight this and keep appealing. And then as it came down to look at all the money that's going to be spent in attorney fees, and this could go on forever, NAR did decide they were going to settle. So it's still a proposed settlement. They did get preliminary approval on April 23rd, looking like it's going to go into effect. And with that payout, they also agreed to a couple of major changes that will happen in the residential real estate realm regarding commissions. The main ones are, and we'll always say it, commission is fully negotiable. When you're sitting down as either buyer agent or a seller agent, it's negotiable. That hasn't changed. But whether the seller does agree to wrap the buyer agent commission in with theirs, at the beginning, I should say, that's no longer going to be posted in the multiple listing service. That's where we go now as agents to say, hey, what's the payout going to be? And then agents always have had that opportunity to go talk to their buyer then and say, my worth is X, will you pay the difference? So now we're also going to have buyer agreements that need to be signed before before a buyer goes out with an agent to look at houses. Main thing there is, I might say, you know what, guys, let's go look at a couple houses. We'll sign this agreement for a 2-day trial, and I'm going to see if I like you, and you're going to see if you like me. But when we really start working together, I'm going to dedicate all my time to you. I'm asking you, you're not going to work with any other agent. And at the end, if a compensation isn't offered up front by the seller and I can't get it negotiated into the offer, are you willing to pay me before closing? It's really just a different way to look at the model of how we do it now. We're breaking it apart, being more transparent, but it's just a different business process than we're used to today. So I think, some people might have gotten wrapped up on the headlines of, oh, I don't have to pay or I'm going to have to pay less. That's not necessarily the case.
Yeah, and as a 30-year practitioner in commercial real estate, which is a different side of the business, but we deal with commissions all the time as well. If you really think about it, if you're a seller or a seller's agent, you count on buyers and buyers' agents to come and look at your houses. So it's all pretty much baked into the deal as far as I look at it. And really, everybody's in it together. There's clear division of who represents who. And if the commission, if it gets split from the listing agent to the buyer's agent, that's part of the deal. But to we'll see how this plays out. But it's I think you explained it very well. But it adds a lot of work and it adds a lot of confusion, especially at the beginning of this process. And my concern is that it was much to do about nothing, that trial attorneys and class action attorneys saw an opportunity to rile things up. And so let's see how it plays out.
Right. And we were kind of talking during the break, main concerns of people that it will affect are people with, first-time home buyers, maybe a little less income at the beginning, and they're struggling already for a down payment and to get their closing costs, and now they may have to pay a commission on top of that out of pocket. And then veterans. Currently, the way loans are scheduled for VA loans, they can't pay commissions. So if the seller isn't willing to let them roll that into the price of the home, they may not be able to get that home. They might have to look at homes only offering a commission. So there's a lot of things still at play here.
I think that any buyer or seller who thinks this litigation and the new way of doing things is going to save them money, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be worked out in the wash, and we're pretty much going to be status quo as far as the deals that are made.
I would definitely like to agree with that. We'll see. It's a new landscape for us, but that is our hope too.
As is always case, the only people who win in class action lawsuits are the plaintiff's attorneys. Jill, before we let you go, looking in your crystal ball, next 6 months to 12 months, Omaha residential real estate market, what's coming down the pike?
It's going to remain strong. And as I kept alluding to earlier, it's a price war and a beauty contest. You got to have the house priced right, looking great. But there's no reason to be afraid of the interest rates. They are what they are. They're not going down. They might notch up a tiny bit, but it's still a great time to buy. It's still a great time to sell. And don't let fear lock you into no mode of movement. You got to be making decisions and working with an educated professional.
All right. If you are thinking about listing a house or need representation to buy one, just get a hold of NP Dodge, and one of Jill's outstanding agents will take very, very good care of you, as they have been since 1855, 169 years ago. Jill Anderson, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Jill Anderson, president of NP Dodge Residential Division. Going to take our final break of the hour, and when we come back, it'll be the lightning round, looking at the list. And there's a lot of stuff on there. You don't want to miss any of it. You're listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And it's the lightning round here on Grow Omaha. This is brought to you by Perkins Kreitzer Construction, general contractor here in town that does projects all over the metro area, but also, Grand Island, Norfolk, Kearney, North Platte, Nebraska, Sioux City, Iowa. They get around the entire region. Now, Perkins Kreitzer might be a newer company, but they have a great deal of experience on their construction team. Project managers, their admins, their superintendents, carpenters, laborers. Many of these folks at Perkins Kreitzer have more than 30 years of experience in the construction industry. Last week, we told you that they're working on Thirstea, the Thirstea, not the Thirsty Cafe. They're building a Thirstea, which is a new boba tea and beverage chain out of California. Well, guess what? You know those Thirstea cafes that Thirstea is different from? They built those too.
Wow, they're in the tea business.
So Perkins Kreitzer Construction is doing a lot there. Dave Kreitzer leads the team, and they do an outstanding job. So if you're looking for a contractor, just give Perkins Kreitzer a call. Sometimes they're referred to as PC Construction. Same thing, same people, and they'll take good care of you. All right, signage has gone up for a new Little King restaurant and a brand new retail strip in Heartwood Preserve in front of the new Charleston's and Mahogany Prime. It is getting very close to opening. The equipment is inside the window. And speaking of Mahogany Prime, remodeling is underway for the old Mahogany Prime building. That is directly north of Biaggi's, and that is being turned into a new restaurant. We've been hearing some rumors about it. Here it might have the same ownership as Salted Edge.
And upscale steakhouse still?
Yeah, we're hearing, steak, seafood sort of thing, so maybe not too terribly different from Mahogany, but we haven't confirmed that yet. And it looks like renovations could be starting not too far off on the old Charleston's, which is right in that area. There are some construction stakes that have appeared outside the building. And we've been hearing rumors about what might go into that building as well. So a lot of things happening. Now let's go into a few other news items we have for you. Izzy's Pizza Bus, which is wildly popular, tentatively set to open its first brick and mortar location on South 24th Street downtown. The exact address is 522 South 24th Street, May 8th. We're looking at, and this has been featured on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives television show, and people love Izzy's Pizza Bus.
I might be able to stump the Beals on this round.
Let's go for it.
When Gunderson's moves into its new building from Village Point on the south side of Village Point, what's going to go into their space?
A, I don't know, and B, if you do know, I'm a little upset that you haven't put it in the Grow Omaha newsletter yet.
It's a restaurant called Meddy's. I think they're from out of town, and I think it's Mediterranean, but it will be a restaurant.
How long have you known this?
Not very long.
I think he's known it for a while, and he's forgot to tell me, and he's busted. Myrtle and Cypress, a coffee house and roaster at 517 North 33rd Street near Gifford Park, recently soft opened its second location, 72nd and Cass, inside the Omaha Conservatory of Music. And speaking of Mediterranean places, Trenton, Clio, which is going to be the latest concept from Omaha-based flagship restaurant group, getting closer and closer to opening in the former Wheatfield space at 12th and Howard in the Old Market. This is described as a journey across the Atlantic that serves as a Mediterranean muse. And it's supposed to have really good Mediterranean
I love
food.
their creativity.
Yeah, I can't wait to try that one. Von Maur, the top department store in town, 3 levels, 185,000 square feet, gonna go through a thorough upgrade and renovation. It needs it. It hasn't been renovated in there since it opened in the 90s, but the plans are going to make it look awesome. It is part of a $100 million effort to renovate all the company's stores. They currently have 37 stores in 15 states based in Davenport, Iowa. Well, the music is playing, which means we have to save the rest for next week. Oh, shoot. Oh, darn. But we're going to move on. Hope everyone has a great week. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Maggot.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, Cheer Athletics, and Perkins Kreitzer Construction. We'll chat with you next week at 9 right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.